Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play the Journeyman Project 2, Buried in Time. Okay, before we get on with the actual part of the game, I realize now what I goofed on. Kind of sucks. I literally, when I was going through the files, reading these first two, I went to the jumpsuit overview. I missed clicking one more arrow to this final screen here. I stopped after the oxygen. I thought I read it all. This is why I'm missing that one research point. Here, the final significant feature of the jumpsuit is the temporal pocket. Items collected by an agent are stored in this pocket, which is actually a null space void. When placed in the void, objects take up no space and are not a burden to the agent. Such items can be easily retrieved just by dragging their inventory display icons into the main view window. Now we should be at 8 research points. We were at 7 and I was missing ones because I literally didn't read the last tab here. Anyways, I might have to make a note of that on the first video. Let's go ahead now and jump to, we're going to go to Chichen Itza, but we're not actually going here yet, so I'm going to really quick just skip this. Trust me, we will read this later. Let's just jump for now. I will explore everything later. I will explain things later. I'll look at Arthur later. I'm literally just going to do what I need. You don't need to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing just yet. Just trust me. It's necessary, but we'll touch more on this when we actually come here. For real later. This is to save us from having to backtrack any other times. Here, we get a copper medallion. This Mayan medallion was likely worn during religious ceremonies. It is made of pure copper. This is all we needed. This is the only time we have to go kind of out of our way to a different time zone to grab something. Now we can just kind of go in order. So, let's go ahead and bring up the jump menu. We're going to actually go to Chateau Guillard now. Let's go ahead and read the briefing. Chateau Guillard. Throughout his reign as King of England, Richard I battled with Philip Augustus to maintain to maintain Angevin rule. I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff. I'm still like, yeah, Angevin rule over territories in northern France. To oversee and defend many of these territories, Richard the Lionheart quickly erected Chateau Guillard in the Les Andelys mountains of Normandy. For years, Philip sought to restore the state of his empire. After Richard's death, he got his chance. Having been financially crippled by Richard's exploits, England could do little to hold him off. Territory after territory was retaken by Philip. Though it was thought to be impregnable, Chateau Guillard capitulated to the French on the 6th of March, 1204, after a brief 6-month siege. A failed relief effort by King John is thought to have played a role in the fall of the castle. However, exactly why it succumbed so quickly is still a matter of some controversy. You are to travel to travel to the thing to have the menu close on you. You are to travel to Chateau Guillard to witness the final day of the siege and to document how Philip's troops gained entry into the castle. Warning, there will be a human presence to this environment. Gather footage from a safe distance and avoid being seen. Your destination coordinates have been scanned and cleared. Well, they say scanned and cleared, but if you remember the note from Gage and it's on the desk there, that wasn't exactly the case. So, that guy ate it, and you have to wonder, if he didn't turn around to see me, would he have still gotten hit by the arrow? According to history, he would have, but, I don't know, would you really just be standing there? Well, I guess the arrow flies fast enough, and it just, like, hits him in the face. Poor guy. Better him than me. I'll take that, sir. Bloody arrow. This is a simple arrow with a wrought iron tip.
The wooden roofs were covered with tin, I think to prevent being set ablaze by flaming arrows.
I actually see the flag waving up there.
That big wooden thing over there is a siege tower. Philip Augustus terrorized the defenders by surrounding the castle with 14 of these. They're pretty handy for being able to shoot over the wall of a castle, but they did have one minor drawback. Can you say flammable?
Yeah, well, if you can get a flaming arrow over there.
If someone should get a glimpse of us up here, In this suit, we might pass as a knight, but I think we should be careful not to be seen.
I mean, we've already been seen, but I don't think we can count on random arrows saving us every time.
Those boulders were dropped on any Nimrod trying to climb the walls.
Nimrod. How'd you die, Boulder? What a Nimrod. Now, they did say to be careful because there are people here, compared to the station where it was basically empty besides Arthur. So we do need to be careful. So, I'm going to go ahead and make a save here because if you're not too careful...
It's kind of interesting how they use the more finished stone on the outside of the walls to make the castle look more imposing, and use the rough stone on the inside. The space in between was generally filled with rubble and, oh, I don't know, annoying singing frogs and metal boxes.
Oh, had to make a quick adjustment there. And if we turn now... Oh, hello, sir.
King, Norman traitor! You shall not flee now!
No, please! Death registered at 10:05 a.m. on this date. Cause of death. Agent 5's presence in the perimeter stairwell of Chateau Guillard was detected by a castle guard. The sentry, who mistook Agent 5 for a French knight, pummeled him until death. The next of kin had been notified. You can see here that we have the one critical evidence now. We found at the Farnstein lab. Puzzle solved. Now our research is at 8. Because I finally finished reading the jumpsuit thing. It's kind of funny. During the actual shot where he's swinging at you, I know it's just because of the actors. They swing, and then they just kind of have to hold it at the screen there as it, like, fades out. And then here it's just like, oh, God, she's just going to get bashed. But anyways, jumping back now. Okay, back where we saved. I do actually want to go down the one more floor. Just for completeness sake.
It's kind of interesting how they use the more finished stone on the outside of the walls to make the castle look more imposing, and use the rough stone on the inside. The space in between was generally filled with rubble and, oh, I don't know, annoying singing frogs and metal boxes.
So this door's locked here.
Sounds locked to me.
Alright. Sounds locked. Okay, now let's go back up. So bottom is death. That floor there is locked. Maybe here. There we go.
These wooden hoardings here, they were put up for defense before a siege to protect archers, and get this, allow the soldiers to drop big, heavy, painful things on the attackers below. Charming, isn't it? This castle really was the jewel in King Richard's crown. He once wrote about Chateau Guillard. How beautiful is my year-old daughter. When Philip Augustus had said that he would take this castle though its walls are made of iron, King Richard retorted that he would hold it if its walls were made of butter. Then King John the Soft Sword took over. When Philip was done with this place, you could pour it on your popcorn. When Philip Augustus heard about Richard's death in 1199, he set about retaking Normandy. And within 3 years, in October of 1203, he was knocking on Chateau Guillard's door with a formidable army. John answered the door with 300 knights, 3,000 horsemen, and 4,000 foot soldiers and assorted ruffians, who tried to surprise Philip's army with a night attack. Big mistake. He wasn't counting on the new cohesion and confidence of Philip's army in the light of Richard's death. They were slaughtered. Ah, see that bridge to the Inner Bailey? This was the castle's one weakness. Under cover of the bridge, Philip Augustus's men managed to dig under the wall and collapse a section of it in what they called a sapping operation. When an attacker would sap a wall of a castle, they would dig a tunnel underneath the foundation supported by a wooden framework. They would then set fire to the wooden beams, and the tunnel would collapse under the wall, bringing it down.
Yeah, that's smart.
These wooden walkways were generally the only way to get around a tower. If a portion of the wall was overrun, they could just remove the walkways and the enemy wouldn't be able to get any further. So a clever French knight figures out that he and a few men can get into the castle by climbing up through a toilet. So right now they must be fighting it out at the main gates. By now there will only be about 60 English soldiers remaining anyway. No wonder this place seems deserted.
Well, we can go ahead and take this. Grappling hook. This durable grappling hook is attached to a 15-meter length of rope. Fortunately, we cannot go in ourselves, though I don't think we would actually want to. Now, what's funny is you can see there are some knights over there, but they're not noticing us, luckily.
These holes in the walls, or they called them arrow loops, were designed to protect archers while still giving them a wide angle of aim.
Also, none of the guys down there seem to care about us as well. Though Arthur did say that we might pass as a knight in our suit, although honestly, I mean, I guess maybe they could assume if we're the enemy, they wouldn't know exactly what we would all look like, but we definitely would still, I think, stand out. Not too far-fetched of an idea, but I hope
the serfs have umbrellas. Ah, the classic garderobe. Simplicity at its finest.
You tiny-brained wipers of other people's bottoms, I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries. Sorry, I always wanted to say that.
I love that that line is included in here.
So this is what a real siege looks like. Not a lot like what you see on the holoflicks. Not a lot of action. Most of it was just bringing an army, surrounding a castle to prevent defenders from getting supplies, and then waiting around until they either starved or surrendered. In the meantime, they built towers and assault engines, readying for when the defenders were softened up enough to attack. Anyone for bloodshed?
I mean, yeah, war of attrition. Surround them, and it's like, you can get supplies still, but they're stuck there. I mean, they could bunker down for a while, but it's inevitable eventually.
You want to know what made this castle such a unique piece of military architecture? King Richard's design for the keep and inner bailey. Look, see those rib-like structures ringing the top of the keep? They were designed to funnel drop projectiles down to the skirt-like plinth at the bottom, which bounced the stones in kind of a fan-shaped trajectory. This way, there was nowhere that the attackers could approach the castle without being vulnerable. We seem to be getting closer to where that catapult is hitting, and I'd be willing to bet their aim isn't getting worse.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine, Arthur. Now, having said that, let's go ahead and make a save here. If you do look here, oh, we actually can't get down this way, so maybe we can just kind of carefully slide down this roof. Or not. To be fair, there are some deaths in this game where it's kind of cheap, but I mean, that's why you should just be saving at all times. This one's kind of hard to see. It's like, okay, how would you know that they're there at the bottom? But you just kind of learn to just expect death could really kind of be anywhere. Agent 5's death registered at 10:09 a.m. Cause of death: a poorly placed weapon rack interceded with Agent 5's effort to infiltrate the middle bailey of Chateau Guillard. The resulting puncture wounds were fatal. Next of kin had been notified. And I think it's like the same score as before. So anyways, let's go back to the top now. Alright, back up at the top. Arthur did warn us that the catapult aim was kind of firing this direction, but you know what? I'm sure it'll be fine. Or maybe not. I think this is the epitome of okay, you know what? It's kind of like BS, this death. I specifically remembered this one. A friend of mine played this game. I let him borrow it, and he played it, and he was like, man, I just kept dying, and it's just like, well, where'd you die? Oh yeah, that one kind of, I think, will happen to anyone the first time playing. You'll kind of see why here in a sec. Agent 5's death registered at 10:11 a.m. Cause of death, an explosive shower of debris from a nearby boulder impact knocked Agent 5 off a 15-meter parapet, causing terminal impact with the ground below. So it wasn't the actual boulder necessarily that killed him, it was just the fact that he got knocked off. But anyways, we dead. So let's go back one more time now. So back here, the hint really is from Arthur saying like, you know, I don't think their aim's getting any worse and all that. So you kind of have to be careful. So what you actually need to do is walk this way and turn and look, but not move forward for a bit. It actually takes quite a bit for it to happen. So we just wait here for a few seconds.
Missed me by that much.
It's not an absurdly long amount of time, but definitely I feel like more than the average player would wait on the same screen with looking. Unless you happen to just turn, then you pause, or you're looking at your notes or something. It's kind of easy to get hit by that, so you just need to wait for it to happen. Oh, I thought there would be a line here. We might have already heard it from looking at it from a different angle. The lines that Arthur has, sometimes they're tied to a very specific screen or thing you're looking at. Other times it could be a little more general, where there's a couple of locations that make the prompt pop up. So we've probably already listened to it. Don't mind us, sirs. They weren't even bothered by it. All right, now we get a music change. That's kind of weird. Oh, you know what happened? In all my practices, it had me starting facing this barrel, and then when I rotated twice, I was still facing the barrel, which confused me. Just now, we landed how we were supposed to, facing this way. I don't know, chalk it up to Scum VM maybe, or something funky happening, but I'm getting a few little weird graphical glitches and stuff, but nothing we can't deal with at least. But anyways, now that we're here at the bottom floor, let's go into this side building here to start with. Hopefully no one's inside. Now it's easy to kind of miss this because you have to look down for it, but here we find not quite Thor's hammer, but close. Solid iron hammer is worn from years of use. I'd say we're worthy, but it is just a regular hammer, so I don't know. That doesn't really solve whether we're worthy or not. So they'll have little bits here where they'll have humans walking by, and then you get the warning about it. Kind of to drive the point home that you are not safe here. This is a dangerous place to be, because there are people actually walking about.
Yes, the incredible sharpening wheel, the latest in lightweight stone technology. It spins, it sparks, it sharpens your knives. It's absolutely free with your 6-piece set of Ginsu broadswords.
Order now, but wait, there's more. Right, who didn't watch infomercials? I watched infomercials all the time as a kid. Anything and everything. The food saver, Ronco knives. I'd rewatch the same ones, and I just didn't care. I found them, I don't know, entertaining for some reason.
Hey, now there's a nasty looking rig. The blacksmith would use something like that to hold cows and horses still for shoeing. No doubt some of them enjoyed it too. I mean, still, there's nothing more disturbing than a cow into bondage.
I'm sorry, what, Arthur? Also, hopefully they didn't use it for other things besides cows, people.
This is an old wood-burning forge, which blacksmiths at the time used to heat up and soften raw iron, which they would then hammer to create rod or forged tools and weapons. This fire can only get up to about 1300 degrees Celsius. Stop me if I'm getting too technical. So they would be limited to casting softer metals such as bronze, copper, or gold.
Copper, you say?
Pumping the bellows draws air through the coals, stoking the fire. Try it, you weakling.
Try it, you weakling. We're going to pump you up. Can I use this here? I can't from this screen. Kind of surprising. I say that because if we move closer and then look down, we can use it from here. So we can heat this up. Now, you did say that we could melt some softer things, like maybe this copper medallion. But why would we want to melt it, you ask? Well, if you look a little closely, something seems off, doesn't it? Like this brick here. Forget the fact that you can just hover over it and you get a hand to click it. If you just look, you can see, this seems kind of weird. Secret compartment.
Well, it's obviously a mold for a key. But why would he have hidden it under a brick?
I mean, it's a key. It's meant to lock up and hide away things. It's not that surprising that you'd hide away the key maker itself. So, if we actually take this copper medallion, put it in here. It melts it down, and if we click it, now, never mind the fact that we perfectly poured that, sort of, because at the tail end, I mean, I always notice the animation there, it's like it's pouring, and then the extra, that part that dribbled out, it just doesn't physically exist anymore. We made a perfect key mold that cooled instantly, I might add, because now we can get this copper key in our inventory. This key was created from a mold found in the smithy in Chateau Guillard. We don't know why we have it or what it's for yet, but obviously it must be important. You can cover this again, you don't need to, but now we have a key. And if you forget or to do this, or don't know to do this, or I guess you may not necessarily, you might think, okay, there's supposedly something to solve here, but if you didn't grab the copper medallion first, you wouldn't have anything, so you might try to come back later, but we'll reach a certain point where if we progress, you can't come back this way, so you need to get this key now before we move on. Oh, let me go back. Arthur had something to say there.
Buildings in this time were built of a half-timber framework with gaps filled with wattle and daub. God, I hate English food. Anyway, basically a mat of woven reeds covered with mud and clay.
Wow, Arthur. Tell me how you really feel. Now, if we look over here to the right, we have an epic battle going on. But if we look away and look one more time, we can see that the tide of battle has shifted. He was on the attack, and now he is. And if you look away and look again, it'll just be the same animation of the guy on the right starting moving towards the left, and they just will repeat. That looks very much like the same kind of knight that was passing by the smithy. So we're in constant danger. There's constantly knights all around us. Temporal anachronism detected within immediate vicinity. Use evidence chip to locate. Now this is the first instance here of a supporting piece of evidence. We technically do not need this to complete the game, but we can do it for the points or just for the sake of being complete. So if we actually look around, check this out. You just have to look around on the screen you're at. You don't have to move again, but you do have to kind of look around and find what angle they're talking about. So in this case here, you can see that there's a little footprint, and you can see our locate, the cursor, it kind of changes, right? So like this is it right here. Evidence registered 3353. So, we can assume that it's the person in question that's presumably trying to frame us. It does have a number. I don't know if this would be enough to be able to determine, it's this person. For all I know, all of our suits have the same number at the bottom. But if they were all unique, wouldn't this be enough to, maybe it doesn't prove that they did it, but that someone else was here? Like this alone. See, if it was the same number, though, then they could just say, well, that's just your own footprint, but I don't know. Anyways, so we got a piece of evidence. We'll look at it later. I'll pretty much save some of those to review at the end once we get the main objective complete. I think that way we can just hit the information all at once. Whoa. At ease, gentlemen. Don't mind me.
Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Oh, I think I got that because I was looking up at it. He automatically commented. That wasn't even me clicking him. That's awesome.
That's either a very dirty moat or a very clean sewer.
Both are disgusting anyways. Oh, just the The murkiness. Ugh. It's nasty. So, maybe we can get into the tower here, but how are we going to do that? Well, much like the guys who were invading, they used a grappling hook, so we can too. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and make a save here. And now we're going to use the grappling hook, and you can see that you've got it correct when you hold the item out. You can see it's facing, you know, pointing top left. When you give it over to the right spot, the graphic tends to shift, so you kind of know, ah, this is where I can use it. So if we use it here,
Hello! Joseph! Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! It shall not claim this tour!
so he's chucking rocks. We may want to reconsider this tactic now that we know, or now that they know that we're here. It might not be safe anymore. Obviously, I was intentionally showing that. If you hesitate there and don't start moving, you get this. This is probably a pretty well hidden death, I'd like to think, because most people would probably just move forward considering all your other controls are locked. But anyways, Agent 5's death registered at 10:24 a.m. Cause of death: having taken too long to begin his ascent of the keep, Agent 5 found himself an unwilling participant in a reenactment of a silly Monty Python skit. Silly and fatal. The next of kin have been notified. I love that this is in here. I just love the Monty Python reference. It's so funny. But, okay. Yeah, and that definitely would crush and kill us. And also, the poor cow. Just look at that. And just, it just looks so silly. Alright, anyways, moving back now. So this time, we're going to go ahead and use the grappling hook. We will not hesitate to move forward.
Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! It shall not claim this tour!
Now once I start moving, the rest of this is automatic. I don't have to do anything more.
He's in the king's chamber!
Quickly hit a save.
Quick! He's in the king's chamber! Ye shall not escape us, false traitor!
From that angle, it looks like he stabbed us right in the face, but there it looks like more like the chest. Agent 5 death registered at 10:26 a.m. Cause of death: Agent 5 was detected by alert soldiers while trying to infiltrate the keep of Chateau Guillard. In the confusion of the moment, he forgot to use his jumpsuit's built-in defense and was quickly dispatched by the castle's sword-wielding defenders. The next of kin have been notified. They give a little hint there, but honestly, it's like when you see that you can't move anywhere and guards are coming, well, what options do you have? Not many. So we'll go ahead and use our built-in defense going back here.
Quick! He's in the king's chamber! Alas! He escaped us! He must not wretched the goddess!
I never fully understood what he says there. He mustn't wretched the goddess or something. I can't quite wretched. I don't know what word he's exactly saying there because I don't know what that would mean. Can't let him wretched the goddess. Either way, I could be completely hearing it wrong. Point is that they think we're gone. And now we're free to actually explore here. But I think this is going to be a good stopping point because we're kind of like maybe a little more than halfway through this time zone. But we'll finish it up in the next one here. So we'll go ahead and make a save. We'll call this the... What part are we on? We are on end of part 4. Alright, so in the next video, we will go ahead and explore the castle now that we've gotten inside and maybe find what's causing the time distortion ripple or whatever in this time zone. So, I'll see you then.